Okay, so today we are here in a new Infosyon network meeting, virtual meeting, online meeting, and today we have here Katrina and another colleagues, and we want to talk about the last meeting that was held in Bremen. It was the Research, Development and Transfer Conference of Infosyon. And Katrina will share what they did in Bremen, which kind of learning there was there, perhaps new challenges or which could be more new steps. And let's go for it. Katrina, tell us, how did it went? Yes, Katrina, you are there?
Oh, sorry, I've got I'm sorry, I've got something else going in the. Hang on 1 second, and I will start. Okay, sorry. I had a background noise. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm looking forward to telling you something about the conference we had. The conference was in Bremen. It was in November. It was a cooperation between Infosyon and the university in Bremen. And it was organized by our Research, Development and Transfer group, which Infosyon has had now for nearly 2 years. This group has taken on the task of promoting the exchange of information between research and practical implementation of constellation work. And at the conference we showed for the first time that not only are organizational constellations a highly effective problem-solving method in companies and in organizations, but also in the areas of management, studies, and research. In this area, the method is proven to show clear solutions, increase the speed of learning, and how to understand systems, and elicit research topics and generate hypotheses. So there were about 70 participants at this conference, and they were mainly from there were a lot of new people to the field of constellation work, consultants and students and representatives from companies. Okay. We showed that, or we looked at in the past, researchers mainly looked at the question of whether the method works and how it works. In the meantime, the first question's been answered, and the second requires patience. When we talk about the effectiveness of constellations, then we generally mean the problem-solving potential. When one places people in a room as representatives of a system, the client receives a comprehensive and realistic overview of their system. One can look deeply into the system structure of organizations and abstract systems, such as branches and markets, or products and strategies, and gaining answers which are usually unexpected, but very plausible. So, let me have a look. The results of the system constellations are achieved by representatives being placed in a constellation and are gaining implicit knowledge from representative perceptions. The questions why representatives in constellations have knowledge, which is very close to the reality, and implicit and explicit knowledge about the systems, which they don't know anything about, is calling out for an understandable answer why this works. And there are many explanatory approaches. At the conference, we had one of our members, Thomas Gehlert, who's an experienced organizational constellator and an extremely inquisitive autodidact, and he's been looking for the answers in quantum theory for a long time now. He took a year out, went to New Zealand, and has been studying this field. He gave us a fascinating talk on the physical explanations of phenomena and the entanglement and the non-locality of protons, appearances which are smaller than electrons and neutrons, and which no one can define whether they are particles or waves. I'm not going to go into this explanation because, as Thomas said during his talk, if you understand some of it, you're really good, but please don't try to explain it to someone else because it's very, very complicated. But this just shows that he has come up with some answers. There were also professors of physics there at the conference who engaged him in discussions afterwards, which for Thomas was really, really fascinating, and also a great motivation to continue in this area of research that he's been in, and which is really, really good for us as constellators, because some of us have the problem that there are people in organizations where they work, they need reasons and explanations to validate decisions they make based on a constellation, and they're very interested in having explanations. The intuition of the representatives isn't enough for someone who didn't witness the constellation themselves. And this conflict a lot of consultants have had for a long time, so looking for some kind of explanation. So this was a goal of the conference too, to look at to look at how to explain, and also how they can transfer the knowledge of what has been gained in a constellation. They came up with three different possibilities of doing this. The first one was it may be easier for business clients if they can talk about constellations which have helped them, using constellations which show structure pictures. So one idea was just to start with a structure picture showing their own position in a complex system, and using this as a basis for discussion with colleagues who were not present. The difference between the structural pictures and constellations are that they do not begin with a problem looking for a solution, but they're just looking at the situation as it is at the moment. And one comment from a participant from an organization is, you have a perfect tool in your hands to be able to offer an order or a vision of the order of the system at that moment. So there was also a workshop done with structural pictures where a representative from a bank set up his picture or his structure of his organization, which we then looked at and worked with. The second solution was to offer alternative forms of documentation for constellations. How could the characteristics of a constellation with the relevant key message and pictures be shown? And what the main comment of the representatives? And could this be a medium which then people could discuss, even if they weren't present at the constellation, discuss afterwards? The third solution was constellations in a 3D room. We had a presentation of software which allows constellations with representatives who are not in one place to come together, and using a computer which controls an avatar in a virtual room. And I wasn't personally at this one workshop, but the experiences of the people in this workshop were very, very positive. They showed that the representatives had intense feelings of representation as they were in the place of an avatar. So that was very futuristic, but had very, very good feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And they were also saying this could be a way to document the process work of constellations in a sort of time lapse and allow others to follow online. And this could be particularly helpful if you use structural pictures beforehand, having a look at the system first before doing the constellation. So that was that's going to be continued.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Katrina, when you talk about structured pictures, what do you mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you mean with structured pictures?
Just looking at the picture as it is now, without a question, without a problem, just the manager with his team or the organization structures, the representatives for the relevant important positions.
And they, the manager, put the representatives in the space, or everybody searches his place.
They were both offered. I've
Both.
seen, yeah, there were some workshops where the positions found their own place.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And there were others where the manager placed the positions according to his
picture in a picture.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, let me have another look. So I just continue here with what sort of like a facet or the innovative fields of use of system constellations were discussed in presentations and workshops, with mostly questions on how organizations and their relationships to stakeholders can be made more visible, understandable, and formable.
Mm-hmm.
It's about relationship within an organization, for example, within a project. It's about relationship with customers and competitors, or relationship with innovation.
Mm-hmm.
How can, with joint action, the new come into the world? That seems to be one key message. How is this new coming in, whether it's the new in marketing or in innovation or looking at competition? That seemed to be the key question. And the question of the way this new comes into the world connects research and practical implementation. From the side of the research comes the impulse that many relationships of systems, not only as relationships of people or departments, but abstract concepts such as principles, concepts, assumptions, premises, or concepts have relationships to each other. And in these constellations, these abstract things can speak to each other, as we all know, and can open up new questions and new hypotheses. The University of Bremen and Ansbach and the University in Vienna, they were also very present, are using also system constellations in teaching learning processes, especially in Bremen. The Professor Georg Müller-Christ is using the method to teach students management theories.
Mm-hmm.
Teaching them, placing representatives for sustainability, for innovation, for profit, and these kind of concepts, and using this, he's actually teaching management concepts with this tool. And colleagues of his, he's in discussion with, they're thinking of new fields of learning where this can be used. It can be used really in anything, learning a language, or it could be used in many, many different fields. And yeah, this is something just beginning, and the students were very interested and they were very motivated. We had at least, I think, 20 students at the conference, and yeah, it was very nice to see how this was developing in this area.
So,
it gives them
as far as I understand, they were using the tool to make visible the relations and the interaction between different parts of a whole system.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
And how was the participation of these students in the conference? Because we normally the people that used to go to this kind of conferences normally are not this profile of professional, so there was something different. You could see a different way of looking at it, or different questions, or
you mean from the students or from the participants?
yes, from the students. Yes, because I mean that normally in this kind of different conferences we meet, it's not normally a place for the students.
Well, I think first it was the venue, the setting. We were in the university. We spent quite a bit of time in the classic university lecture hall. So I think the students felt at home. I found the students to be very, very sharp, very you didn't really notice that it was something new from that. I think obviously because they'd worked with Professor Georg Müller-Christ for a while, they were used to it. And their questions, if they had questions, were very good. Some of them were, when we were discussing the constellations and marketing and this area, some of them were a little, the questions tended to be, well, this transfer, how do you get the clients to believe, or you tell them this is what you've seen in a constellation. They were a little bit skeptical. How are we going to get that across? But I found it was a very, very good mixture, and I found there wasn't really any them and us. It seemed to really learn from each other, and it was a very good atmosphere, in my opinion.
You said, Katerina, you did videos from the meetings or from the different courses. You said, Katerina, that you did videos from the different presentations.
Yes, yes.
You sell them, or what do you do with the videos?
No, they're going to be put on the website, on the Infosyon website.
Oh, great, great. That's great.
Yeah, we didn't film everything.
Okay.
We had the cameraman was going in and out and trying to capture the essence of as much as he could.
Okay.
The film will be put together, and there'll be it's like a facet, like a summary, and it will be put on the website for everyone.
Okay, great.
And
that's great.
Whatever material we receive from Thomas Gehlert and from different lectures, the presentations we will have, that will also all be on the website for everyone to read.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's in German, not all in English. It's a shame, but it's just, I think it's very difficult when the work's going on in one language to make sure it's in different languages or translated into English.
Yes.
But it's very difficult. As I saw, I was also looking at the last hangout. The last hangout about the Octi was also in Spanish, wasn't it? So,
yeah.
And I thought it's hard for you guys sitting together speaking English or something when you're all Spanish speakers together. So yeah, we have to be a little bit. understanding that some things are in some languages and unfortunately not in others. So. But hopefully the next
So we are international.
we are international, yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Yes, I think that's about it. It's going to continue. The university in Bremen and in Ansbach in Bavaria, they are carrying on with this research, and they meet regularly as part of the Infosyon Research Network group. And also the university in Vienna are closely cooperating. So it will be interesting what comes out then at the next research conference. I think that the feeling of the conference this time was really the transfer of the method into organizations, no longer talking about really how the method works, but really how is it helping, supporting organizations. There was a lady from Coca-Cola there, and she spoke very clearly about how she uses constellation work, and other organizations. It really felt like, for me, it felt really like the next step has really begun.
Great.
Yeah.
So this is something I wanted to ask you, which was the next step, and you thought that the next step can be this, putting the focus on the transfer, and the implementation or the application of constellation, not so much about the methods or.
Yeah, I think there are different people working on different things. I mean, as I said about Thomas Gehlert working on the quantum theory and how is it working. Other people really work at the standpoint, let's stop talking about the tool. Let's talk about the transfer and the implementation. There was a very, very good workshop held by Michael Wingenfeld, a German who uses the tool in Siemens, and he called it reverse constellations. He showed us fascinating work he does without even talking about constellations.
He said reverse constellation.
Yes, it's like it comes from the term reverse engineering. Which some engineers know. They look at a product that's maybe 5 years old, and see what does it look like today after being used, and he set up, for example, like a pin board in the middle of the room, and there were no chairs for anyone to sit down, and this pin board was all twisted and a little bit broken, and the paper was hanging off, and he had us stand in relation to this pin board. And then there were some people close, some people far away, and out of that he made I wouldn't say a constellation, but it could easily have gone that way. And it was very, very fascinating work. So I think a lot of people working in different directions, doing really interesting, innovative things. That's really
nice to hear. Happy to hear. Happy to hear.
It was nice to hear, nice to see, and
yes.
Very, very good.
Yes.
Yeah. I think.
So you said that there are already new steps in the university to go on with its work, and no?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there are more and more people in universities researching. The research is becoming also using the tool and also networking together. Yeah, I think and especially now that we also have this research group that meets regularly, it's really got a sound basis to continue to develop in this way.
Okay, so the conference finished with a to be continued.
To be continued.
Yes.
Very fine.
Yeah.
Actually, it's very exciting to learn the development in the university.
Mm-hmm.
This year, I changed my job, partly inspired by the conference last year in Amsterdam. Now
Mm-hmm.
I'm working in a university. So I'm working right now as a professor in a business school in Shanghai, in China.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm incorporating this constellation in my teaching.
Oh, great.
The
Great.
way I'm doing is that for now I'm not using the name of constellation.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, my class is I use more Chinese traditional kind of wisdom. The name of my class is Zen,
Mm-hmm.
and investment, the trading investment,
Mm-hmm.
because I was doing financing, banking.
Mm-hmm.
And my strategy is that the first thing is that now I believe that those forces we observe in constellation is more kind of from the fifth dimension. We have 4-dimensional world. We have time and space. That's something kind of from the fifth dimension, and it's really hard to use the way of the traditional science to study it, because it's beyond our current cognition, our human beings' current ability, our eyes, our ears, our nose, our touching, and our eyesight, and we have 5 senses, but we really cannot see those. So what I'm doing is I try to let the students to really to experience, to feel. So the way is I gradually ask them to feel it. And in the last part of the class, I would ask them to do some constellation.
Mm-hmm.
So the result is very good, because my students, they are very, how to say, very centered in the mind, in the brain.
Mm-hmm.
So before I tell them any theory or anything about that, the first thing is let them to experience. So I develop a number of exercises to gradually let them to feel that this energy, and everybody can feel it, and how accurate it's beyond the explanation of any current science. So I'm doing that on that line. So, but I'm also very interested in learning the progress in universities in Europe. So if there any chance, because right now I'm working as a professor, so it would be convenient if there's any research project I can just help a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So just in the future, if any this kind of a conference, and hopefully I can get some time to go to Europe to see some colleagues in university, so we can look from different angle. I'm applying this constellation in the economics, in the business world, especially in the finance and the banking. Seems quite good, and I'm trying to really to combine, how to say, to make a lot of synergy from Chinese traditional like Zen and Taoism and Buddhism. The people will accept this concept more, but I think what I'm doing is still focused on the constellation beyond just personal meditation. It's group is constellation. So, and I'm also doing some workshop purely on constellation, organizational constellation. That is out of my formal job. My formal job as a professor, and I'm doing several workshops. I'm doing some workshops every now and then. Last time I sent out a something about what they think about what is the field, and I'm doing this, and I think that's recently I made some progress. is to see the relationship between traditional Chinese wisdom and the constellation. I still remember that Katrina, I talked with you about the about I Ching and constellation. I'm still working on that. Recently, I get to know some people. They're truly good in traditional Chinese wisdom, and I want to learn more about the I Ching and see how I can really write something about it. But my current thinking is it's really about the fifth dimension. And recently, I went to North America, to learn shamanism. So from shamanism, I really got inspired because it's a lot of things that we are confused at the level of constellation. That ancient Indian people in America, they have some very good explanation about all those stuff. So I really got excited learning those shamanism work in North America. Excuse me. And it stems from Peru, and just seeing anything that we can move this, just develop this constellation work, make it better, and find a good way to really make it more applicable to the society and to the economy. So, excuse me. So, see, in the future, I really look forward to expanding chances to work in the research university circle to do more work on this constellation, the research and the explanation, and make it better for the environment of some big corporation. It's a special form of constellation. So I just give you a very quick brief of what's going on my side in China.
Okay.
That was very good, very nice, very interesting. Thank you.
Yes, thanks a lot, Tao.
Thank you very much, Tao.
You're welcome. You're so welcome.
Yeah. Is there any chance you'll be coming to Europe? Do you have any
Should be
plans?
okay. I can go anytime. I'm quite free right now. If I have no classes, I can just go. It's convenient. It's easy. Not that hard for me to go to Europe. If there's a good research opportunity with Bremen University or any university. You mentioned about University of Vienna, something?
Yes,
any professor, I can, sometime we can just get to know each other and I can drop by.
Yeah, the other university is the one in Bremen, and it's the Professor Georg Müller-Christ.
Yeah.
And he's in the research group. He also has before our conference, he had a workshop the day before, and they worked on different research topics. Something like that would have been really, really good for you.
Yeah.
Or interesting for you.
Yeah. I don't know what he's doing. Actually, I'm now doing more on finance and banking.
Yeah, he's innovation and sustainability and management.
Yeah, I'm doing more actually on sustainability in finance. How to make banking, modern banking, more sustainable.
That's a very hard task, isn't it?
You know, the financial crisis is coming again.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have thought banking and sustainability would fit together.
Yeah, definitely fit together. When you finance, you have to consider how can we make it sustainable. We cannot borrow money that we never think we can ever pay back, and ask our next generation or the environment to pay the price.
Yeah, we have though.
But then we have to change money system.
Yeah.
We have to change the system of interests. We have to change really the base. And on the whole, the money word is in power.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because the beginning of October we also had a conference in Salzburg,
Yeah.
and on family companies, and there was also the topic of innovation and sustainability, and I think this topic is coming up more and more.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's making a space for itself, I think, which is good, in my opinion.
Yes.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
It's necessary. It's necessary.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm always talking about that. Whatever class I'm teaching, I will always talk about the sustainability of finance at the end of class. Every class, I talk about that.
Well, I will send you a link, Tao, with Georg's contact details.
Yeah.
And I'll send Georg a link, and I'll connect you two together.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
That'll be the first step. And the second, our next conference is planned for next July. We haven't. It's still in the planning phase. Yeah, we're meeting as a board next week to discuss this, but maybe you can already put the dates in your calendar.
Yes.
Yeah.
The 24th and the 25th of July in Vienna.
Vienna, okay. Okay, July usually is it's good for me to travel. Let me July 24th and 25th. Okay.
And we would have a call for papers, Tao, so maybe you would be interested in presenting what you're doing there.
Okay. You can just get to know more people and talking about what I'm doing right now.
Okay, so
Tao, if I understand well, you changed the name, or you have another name for constellations. I did not understand the other name. Or how do you name it?
I say it again. What's the name? My name or my name of?
Yes, you said you don't use the name constellation.
Yeah, when
you use another name. I did not understand very well the name you use.
I never mention any name. I don't think there's a name for it. I think it's unnameable. So what I'm doing is that when I teach publicly, I just using the name of Zen. Traditional, the Zen, the Eastern, the Japanese and Chinese Zen. Then gradually I will ask them to practice constellation, and I will do some case. And some of the students will recognize always. They say, oh, it's constellation. So that's the way I'm doing it. So I'm not naming anything. It's unnameable. This constellation is just a way that we how to say, demonstrate this energy.
Yes.
But itself is unnameable, I think. Constellation only a form, I think. That's my opinion. I think constellation is a very beautiful way to do it. Yeah.
Yes. You know, all of us. I think the translation of the German word in constellations, it gains so many inconscient pictures, which is not necessary.
Yeah. Especially
if you can translate Aufstellung and position, or put in position.
Yeah. So I never talk about this unless people really curious it. Otherwise, it's useless. You take constellation, whatever, it's just useless. So the most important thing is that somehow let them experience. That's the most important thing. Then after that, they gradually teach them some principles for constellation. So that's what I'm doing. So I never talk first about this concept and any name of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Perhaps it's a good way to go on
Yeah.
with constellations. Just not naming them,
Yeah.
not trying to not
Yes.
trying to put them in a concept, but just
Yes.
something that was before we started looking at them or looking at the method, because it was something that happened. It was in the field,
Yeah.
and perhaps we are just constraining the phenomena when we try to conceptualize it.
Or should be a word, a new creation of a word.
Yeah.
Look for a word which has another sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think,
okay.
but I think at some stage, we have to really get the name. So there's a balance of this energy and consciousness and the conscious part. So somehow the name, but I think we have to get the name of constellation. But at a later stage, they just experience it. So that it's if never give a name or there's just no definite name for it. Whatever name, it's also it make people confused. But after they experience it, it would be good to discuss a little bit, discuss the theory about that. People will like it.
Yes.
Yeah. My experience, it works really well. So recently I collect a lot of exercises, all kind of exercise to ask people to just experience, step by step.
Great.
So people always doubt. They always doubt. So what I have to do is just step by step, and each time small step from their brain, from their rational mind. So maybe after the second day or the third day, I will ask them to do constellation. The first day will always be like breathing or Tai Chi. I'm learning Tai Chi, Chinese traditional Tai Chi, those things.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, and just to
Thank you,
go finishing the recording of today, I want to thank Katrina for sharing what happened in Bremen. Also thank Tao from sharing his work in China, and I'm being very thankful because I know that now it's quite late in China.
It's okay. Yeah.
Thanks to join us in these hours. So we'll meet in the next online meeting of Infosyon Network, and we hope to see you there.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you.